Like, share, subscribe to Live for Love TV.
Like, share, subscribe, Live for Love TV. Awesome!
Welcome back to Live for Love TV. Today's the 20th day of the 10th month of the 22nd year inside the 21st century. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Now, last time I did a video in the car, if people remember, if those people who watched that video, wasn't that long ago, maybe a week ago or so, Mr. KWASI had either resigned or been sacked. We're not sure if he jumped or he was pushed. I think he was pushed, but his letter sounded like he'd been pushed, but the Prime Minister at the time made it letter sound like he had resigned. So that was confusion. But anyway, I said I nailed my flag to the mast, as they say. And I said that the Prime Minister will not last 6 weeks. He lasted 6 weeks. I said she won't last 6 weeks from this day. And people were saying, well, she may go at Christmas and she may go. And I said, no, she won't last 6 weeks. Well, apparently today, sometime this morning, the 1922 commission, which is the Tory big boys, came to her and said to her, it's over. You've brought us down as far as you can. You got to go. And she had to resign because the way that the system is set up, the only way they can get somebody into the position, apparently, without having to be a vote, they'd literally have to maneuver her into a resignation position. So she's been forced into resignation. Now, nobody should feel sorry for any of these people because they're just like football managers. They don't just resign or get sacked just like that. Whenever they leave their position, believe me, there's a massive payoff. They get a payout, should I say. They get a massive payout, all of them. All these politicians, they get massive payouts and they get extra this and extra that. It doesn't come in the press, but that's what happens. Just like football, top football managers, when they apparently get the sack, somehow they get a 25 and 20 million dollar or pound payoff. I don't know what kind of a sack that is. I've been sacked probably once or twice in my life. I don't remember any payoff, but I wouldn't call that a sacking. I'd call that a bonus. But anyway, she's gone. The problem the country has, and I said it in one of the other videos, that UK has is massive, because if you get such a big win 2 or 3 years ago, and now you've got Prime Minister after Prime Minister stepping down or being pushed out, and then you're having to, it shows you that it's not just the party that's in disarray, which it is. The Conservative Party is in a bad way, but it's actually the country. What we're looking at, it reminds me of a football team when everybody's putting in their transfer request at the same time. You know that means that the team's been taking a heavy beating, and that nobody believes in them anymore. The agents are advising their players to get out as soon as possible, and that's what's been happening with the Conservative Party at the moment. Everyone's advising their people to get out, maneuver yourself, do this, do that, all kind of civil war, basically a civil war inside the party. But you don't get civil wars when the country is running well. That's what people got to understand. When a country is running in any form of decency or any form of being able to be recouped or recovered, you wouldn't get a civil war. You get a civil war when the country's at its most dire. You can look back at the American Civil War and know that slavery was basically over. They knew it, but they didn't want to accept it. People in the South were holding on and they were going to keep their slaves and stuff like that. But the problem was the Civil War is where people say slavery was unhinged. But the truth is the country was finished in its current state, and that's what caused a civil war. And now they've got a civil war inside the Conservative Party because the country at the moment is not redeemable. It doesn't care. I don't care who gets in. It's not redeemable. I never understood politics totally growing up. The political system in Westminster and in America, where they talk about oppositions and incumbent parties. But now I understand that without a strong opposition, the party that's in power is useless. They're basically useless. So they've created a system where the opposition has to be strong, and the opposition in the UK has been weak, and it's still weak. The fact that they're points ahead and all that in the Conservative, they're points ahead of the Conservatives now, is basically because how weak their government is. Without a strong opposition, because their system is based on what people don't like. Excuse me for the sound, the noise interference, but their system is created on what people don't like, not what people like. So people normally vote against what they don't want in these Westminster parliamentary systems and in the American system. People don't vote for what they want, it's what they don't want they vote for. So you'll find most of the people who I know grew up in voting Labour. They're voting because they don't want the Conservatives. They don't really respect the Labour leadership or anything like that, but they just don't want the Conservatives. The same in Ghana. The same in Jamaica. It's the same in almost all these countries with a too strong parliamentary system, whether it's parliamentary or whatever you want to call it. When you have two strong parties, people are normally voting against what they don't want. So without a strong opposition, then the government is always weak. So we've seen how weak the government is after getting such a big vote, in 2019, I think it was. And we've seen how weak they are 3 years later. That's because the opposition is so weak. And if they come into power, well, it looks like they may come into power the next year or two, you're going to see how weak the whole country is. That's when it's going to really reveal to those who are clamoring for a new leadership. Leadership can't help you out of this problem. The problem is deeper than people are. You can't just keep saying, "Oh, let's just change the leadership." There's a lot of things that have gone wrong before we've got to this point in the UK. So anyway, just an update on Miss Liz Truss, and a joke I shared with a friend last night that the Prime Minister had sacked Liz Truss and then made a U-turn when she realised she was Liz Truss. I can't say that today because she's gone anyway. So take care. Live for Love TV. See you soon.
People.